Oh my goodness, this is just so full circle. Like, I feel like when I am answering questions for families that have emailed in, I really feel like it takes me back to when my baby, before I even knew anything about baby sleep, when I knew not a clue what was going on, and walking up to any mom who had any baby and being like, what do I do? How do I calm this baby down? And just like being able to answer these questions is like, it's so enriching. So today we have a bunch of questions that have been emailed in, and you can email in your questions. Tell your mom friends to questions@littlewings.ca, and every week I'll be answering questions that are legit. Like, look at this. This is my email that I am printing off, and I'm answering these questions live. Like, I have not prepped for these. These are real legit answers of what I would tell my clients. I work with clients one-on-one, and so do my coaches, as well as we work with our clients who are going through our self-guided course, because some people are DIY people and some people are just like, I need you to tell me what to do for my baby, and I need that one-on-one time, please. Either way works. You're not doing anything wrong. And if you have decided that, sleep is not going well, I had a mom on the phone this morning actually who was telling me, she's like, I know that my 2-year-old needs to get rid of the pacifier. I know it was a mistake to introduce it, but I just, like, I feel bad. I was like, don't feel bad. You had another newborn at the time. Like, she introduced this passy at an older age. And I was like, we do what works in the moment. And then we're looking at these long-term solutions. And now you're ready to look at those long-term solutions. That's where I come in. I am not here to judge you. I am not here to say that you're wrong. Maybe you're co-sleeping. Maybe you're breastfeeding to sleep. All of that, that's okay. And what is actually more important is that when you do make change, that you're consistent about it. Because when we make changes for babies and for toddlers and we're not consistent, they do not have any way to communicate with you and be like, hey, Dad, is this like a for real change? Like, or are you just like going to change things again and again? Like when our kid is panicking, we kind of panic and we're like, well, let's try this. Let's try that. Like, I remember when my kid was little, I sent my husband to 5 different drugstores finding anti-colic stuff because apparently that's what I needed. Was that what I needed? No. Baby's overtired. Do I know that now? Yes. However, did I end up with 5 different bottles of things? Absolutely. Right? We don't judge where we have been. We go, okay, this is where I am. This is what my family's goals are. And we're moving towards those goals in a way that is constructive in how we are connecting with our kids. We're making sure that they're feeling connected to us, that we're being clear in how we're communicating. Clear is kind, right? And they themselves are experiencing sleep from their perspective. This is what makes us so different. And this is why I hope that you share this with your friend who also might be struggling with sleep with their kid, is because this isn't about a one-size-fits-all scenario. Sure, there's some biological foundations that go right across. However, having worked with thousands of babies, I also know that kids are different. I learn something from kids all of the time. And so when you have these generalizations, we don't want to just be like, well, just leave them to cry it out and slap that and smear that all over, because that isn't a one-size-all-fits situation, right? Like, how do you not know that something else is going on? And so I want you to make sure that you are sharing this with your friend. Like, I know that you are a loving person because you are here and you love your baby, and so that you want to change sleep. And so I want you to send it to a friend so that they can get their questions answered. Or maybe you're going to listen to one of these questions today and you're like, that's their baby, or that's my baby. Or maybe you're like, dang, they need to email in that question to Anna. Yes, they do. Or maybe all you need to do is download one of the free resources and the answer's right there. Got that? Okay, so we are going to start today with Deanna's question. Her question, and this is how it goes. Hi, my question is about my 7-month-old naps. We're out of the house driving to school, drop off and pick up from 7:50 to 9 in the morning. and 2:50 to 4 in the afternoon. Now, in my job, I get sent a lot of people's life schedules. I could probably be a pretty good stalker, but I'm not. Don't have time for that. Got 3 kids. He wakes up at 6:30 in the morning, generally falls asleep on the drive, and naps anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour. The 1 hour nap is great, but he's getting ready for 2 naps, and that is happening less and less. The short van nap in the mornings messes with the whole day. Any tips to help him nap better at home after a short nap in the car way too early? So yes, I do have tips, Deanna, on how to like get him to sleep better after the daycare like cat nap. However, the core issue here is at 9 months, 7 months old, we are transitioning to 2 naps. And I think if you're getting through the night to 6:30, we can probably safely transition to 2 naps because we're not having overtired wakings at night, which often look like these short wakings at night that are they're short but abrupt, and everyone's very confused by them. Or we're having short naps, which we're getting 1 hour naps, which tells me he's not overtired. However, because it's 1 hour and sometimes shorter, does tell me he might be undertired. So here's what I want to do. Big picture, I want you to start trying to push that nap. I want you to start trying to push the early morning later so that then we can do that. How we do that is by making the first nap later. So this might mean that you've got a basket of toys in the car, and every time he's kind of dozing off, you're handing him a new toy. It might look like, okay, we're actually going to drop one kid off, or both other kids, or however many kids you have. I don't know how many you have. Going to drop them off, and then we're going to go for a walk or a play with lots of fresh air, just to kind of like, so they're not falling asleep at the beginning of that drive. And so the later that first nap gets, if we can get him home to have the first nap, then we're able to have a 2 nap day. That is the goal right there. So we want to have a basket of toys. So we've got new stimulation coming while you're in the van. We want to try and, if we need to take a pause and get him up and moving and kind of like look around at a park, that's totally okay. Make sure that you kind of like over the next 2 weeks are allowing that flexibility in there. Third thing is like, sometimes this just happens. And I remember feeling how furious you're feeling when you're like, you just fell asleep and it's 5 minutes from home and I don't know what to do. Here's what you're going to do. First of all, if you're not going to get a nap that is at least 45 minutes, if it's 45 minutes, it counts as a full nap. Like that's a full length nap. If it's 20 or 30 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, I'd love you to start practicing some transitions. So if baby can even transition onto you and you can finish off that nap, like in a cuddle nap, go relax, have a cup of coffee, great. Or you're able to transition them into their crib. Now this takes practice, friends. Don't try it once and then tell me it doesn't work, because it is a skill, just like sleeping. Just like working out, it's a skill. So we've got to learn how to do that. So if you find that, no bueno, he's not going to transition into a cuddle nap and he's not transitioning into his crib, then you're going to wait for the next sleep cues. And when those next sleep cues come, they're likely going to be earlier than a full awake time, because if he's had a short nap, he's not going to be able to do a full awake time. Then you're going to try again for a nap. If you have tried again for a nap for a little bit and it's no go, don't stress about it. Just get him up and play for a little bit and go on the next sleep cues. Moral of story, yes, you can shorten the wake window. However, the core issue we need to fix is really making sure that he is going to bed later, because then once that nap moves later, the early morning is going to move later, and then this is not going to be as much of a struggle. It's going to solve itself. Okay, we have a next question from Jen. I followed Nurturing Newborns sleep program. So Nurturing Newborns is my step-by-step program for your newborn to teach them along the way, while embracing your feeding needs as their newborn, to put things in bit by bit by bit, to take the stress out of newborn sleep. Okay, and it's made a big difference. I'm so happy, Jen, that's awesome. Our little guy, 5 months, still cries before bedtime. We give him 5 minutes. Sometimes he comes down on his own and sometimes not. Then we'll go back in and offer some vocal or touch or comfort some big yoga breaths, which usually work to help calm him down. Sometimes we still have to pick him up and calm him down. Wondering if you have any tips to cut out the crying at the beginning of putting him down, or why he might be doing that. So, 2 ideas here, Jen. First of all, if he is crying instantly when you put him down in the crib, that usually means that they're already on their journey to sleep. So for those of you who are new to Little Wink sleep, we talk about the process of going into sleep as the journey to sleep. That journey to sleep, it goes very differently before the 4-month regression than after. The 4-month regression is gaining light sleep, and that light level of sleep is what we call drowsiness. Now, drowsiness can look different in many different babies. It can look like zoning out, just like looking off into the distance. They're actually in stage 1 of sleep. They're already asleep. It might look like they're just like sucking really slowly, or they've got that jitter pitter pattery suck. It might look like you're feeding and then they get really angry when you take them off, even though you know they've had a decent feed. It might look like they cry instantly when they go down in the crib because they've already considered themselves starting to fall asleep. So Jen, if you're finding that your babe is going from like they're super calm in your arms before bedtime and then they go into bed and they're like, oh my goodness, no, it's because they're still considering your arms to be a part of their bedtime routine. And in this case, say if you were doing a song, you might do the song once they're in the bed. You might do the song once, like turning them around. So we've got our baby here. Instead of having your last song like this, you might have your last song like this, right? Making sure they're alert. If they are reading a book with you and they're just kind of like cuddling and it's like the most beautiful moment ever, no, they've already started falling asleep. Stop. We need them like boom, 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 boom. Like karate chop, the book, let's go. That is when we know that they are awake. We want them going in fully awake. The second thing is because baby's going to sleep fairly quickly, I don't think there's a lot of undertiredness at play. But sometimes if we have undertiredness and there's a short stint of crying, it's because they're like, Mom, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. And then you're like, but yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, maybe I am. So in that case, we just need to extend awake times by about 10 minutes. So at 5 months, 5.5 months, we're looking at about 2 hours and 15-minute awake time, maybe up to 2.5 hours, depending on the baby. And I think that that is likely going to solve this issue for you, Jen. Okay, next question here is from Alexar. Okay, interesting name. I like it. Their daughter is 3.5 years old, should be 4 in March, so very close to 4. Stopped napping completely in May and was doing really well, sleeping like 6:45 till 7 a.m., like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Amazing. She's been waking up earlier and earlier before 6 a.m. and having a hard time through the day and more meltdowns. Does she need an earlier bedtime? I've tried later and it resulted in night wakings, which later bedtime equal night wakings. What does that tell us, friends? Overtired. So nope, this mom knows what she's talking about. Early mornings often can also be because of overtiredness for some babies too, so we have to keep an eye out for that. She's always been a super independent sleeper, never needed us to go in, settles herself back to sleep, doesn't use an iPad, no TV before bed, or no sugar before bed. She's been tracking her sleep, and she's listed it out here for me the last 2 weeks. Man, I love this mom. She knows like my love language. Like data, like you need to track your baby's sleep to actually see trends, because as a parent, we feel our kids so emotionally in the moment. Like when my kid gets up at 5:30, like I feel that in my bones. Like I'm just like so tired. However, and my husband and I have this discussion all the time because he's like, oh my gosh, never sleeping. And I'm like, they slept in till like 6:15, which they're meant to sleep in until 6:15, 6:30. That's when I get them up. I was like, most days, but today's Saturday. So yeah, it extra sucks. Okay, anyway, so we are kind of like seeing like a 6:15. I actually wonder if this little peach is going through a big developmental leap. because these consistent early mornings. I would move bedtime to 7:15, because I think 6:45 potentially could be too early. The thing about early mornings is it's always going to take about 10 to 14 days to come in. Like, it's not a quick fix. You know, like with our last question with Jen and her baby, I'm like, yeah, 2 days of cutting that drowsiness out at the crib, crying will stop. Could be that night. At 2 to 4 days. Whereas like early mornings, they take a while, and there is a body clock thing. And often toddlers will go through something really big developmentally, and it will turn up in their sleep. So the two things that I really want to focus on here with Alexa is, first of all, do we have a way that your child can tell when it is morning time, when they're allowed to get out of bed, and when they just need to stay in bed quietly? So that would be an okay to wake clock, something to that effect. I have the Nanit one, and I also have the Hatch one. I really like the ones that you can control on your phone, because we want to make sure they have the wins. So with this one, this babe, like, we want to make sure that she's like feeling like she can actually do this, to then be able to shuffle the body clock. Because I don't think that the amount of sleep that she's having, like the 11 hours, that's what she needs. We just need to shift that. And it sounds like, because she's such an independent sleeper and is so routine, her body clock is like set firmly at 6:45. And so we kind of need to shift that slowly. So it's kind of going 7:30 to 6:30, 6:45, 7-ish. But she needs to know what is the signal, because right now you are the holder of sleep. You are the one telling her, it's now time for you to get up in the morning. And she's like, yeah, I can't tell if it's morning without you. So what am I meant to do? I just call for you then. So that's why we need to make sure that we have some kind of method of communication. I'm going to put my link to the Nanit down here in the show notes so that you can grab that, and any codes that we got there. But I want to make sure that we're shuffling that. So we need a routine so that she's able to tell if it is morning time or nighttime. And so that then you're going to start implementing those wins. So even if it's like, okay, go back into your bed, and then you're like, press the button, and it's like, pooh. So we have pink and birdies in our house, and it works really great. The second thing is if you're laying in bed and you don't know when morning is, y'all gonna get bored, right? And so with this age of a 4-year-old, we want them to feel some independence and some positive choice making, and that we trust them within reason. I really like getting a book light, a little clip. So this is like the one I've got for my 4-year-old right now. It clips onto her bed. I just got it off Amazon, nothing special. I'll put the link below. And then there's just a touch light. And so it's nothing super bright. She can't like light up the room. And sometimes if she has a bad dream or something like that, she'll call for us if she needs us, but sometimes she'll just put on her light, and then it kind of like soothes her and she can go back to sleep, but it's not bright enough. And then of course, like I have a book or two. This is a favorite library book right now in her bed, so that in the morning she can sit there and read, or maybe play with a couple of toys until it is morning time. And that allows her to have that autonomy to be able to tell when it is morning time. The next thing I want to tell you about is I actually had a conversation with a dad. So I love making sure that dads are included in the process, because you know, it's really easy for everything to be put on moms. However, dads have to build a relationship with their child around sleep too. Sleep is not positive unless it is safe. And it's not safe unless they feel safe with who is looking after them and putting them in bed. And if they haven't built that communication strategy, and that is why babies are like, I need mom. First of all, mom is that journey to sleep, or whoever is that journey to sleep. That like mom equals sleep, or dad equals sleep. And second of all, they don't feel safe because they don't know what's coming. They don't know that that person has the competency to do it. So dad needs to be a part of sleep, or grandma, whoever those key caretaking people are, they need to be a part of sleep, and you need to be consistent. Your soothing strategies on like the song I sing versus like my kids want me to sing, they want my husband to tell a story. Different However, policy is they still go to sleep wide awake, and we still love them, and we have a calm bedtime routine that is the same. This dad, I had a phone call with him because they were moving into a big bed and wanted to ask some questions. And we had worked together about 8 months ago, and it was a really tough go, really tough go, probably one of the hardest clients I've ever had. But they were so patient. They were such team players. Love that family to bits. I get way too invested in the families. I swear I do, because I love you guys so much. And anyway, he just said to me, Anna, before we get started, I just need you to know, you guys changed our lives. You changed our marriage. We hated parenting before this. And he was just like, it just changed everything for us. Like everything you did for us, we love you. We are so thankful. Like it changed. He's like, I just can't even tell you how much it changed our lives. And I was thinking about that because it's really important. Like so many people in the baby world harp on about, well, I shouldn't use the word harp because it is really important. Like feeding is really important. However, it's like if you don't sleep, you can't function. Like sleep is the number one cause of anxiety, like sleep deprivation. There's a reason why sleep deprivation is torture, because it is. And yes, babies need to feed. I am a big advocate of breastfeeding, big advocate of babies having night feeds while they need them. However, we have to acknowledge the impact that sleep has on the whole family unit, on the marriage or relationship, on the siblings, on the baby and development, everything. Anyway, had to share that with you. And that dads can do it too. Okay, last question here, but make sure that you are emailing in any questions at littlewinks.ca. Make sure you tell your friends that they need to email in their questions too. Share this podcast with them or YouTube with them, because they need to know so that they can get help, so that they're not feeling like hopeless and despair that like sleep is never going to happen again. Okay, so Jessica has a 2-month-old. Oh, my best friend has a 2-month-old right now. The snuggles are just so delicious. Okay, your post recommends 3 to 4 naps at this age. I also have a toddler, 2 in the spring. Oh, 2 under 2, my friend. I was talking to a mom with 2 under 2 this morning. Are you okay? Do we need... Okay. Obviously not, because she's emailing in. How can I encourage these naps with a toddler? Hard to escape to another room with a newborn. Newborn naps in common areas at the moment, but difficult to get solid naps. Has several short naps one day, or just a few like naps are all over the place. Naps being all over the place for a newborn is totally normal. And I will say, I think that it's really hard to have 2 under 2, because soon here you'll have 1 kid on 2 naps and 1 on 1 nap. And the child with the fewer naps, their nap takes priority. So in terms of like, what can you do? First of all is I would prioritize one of their naps being an overlapping nap, because you kind of need a breathing space in there. And then I would like backtrack awake time. So it's like, okay, we're going to have our cuddle nap in the middle of the day with newborn while other baby sleeps. So maybe you're like, this is our best feeding time. So that's when you plan to feed. Then you're going to do it like an awake time and kind of like track backwards some. But I would be doing the first nap of the day in the crib, because that is honestly the easiest nap to get a newborn or any kid down for, is the first nap of the day. And then the other ones, I would be a-okay having them in the common area or on the carrier. I actually think there might be a bit of timing here that we're looking into. So if you don't have nurturing newborns, Jessica, make sure you get it. It is just so good. Like, I am just always blown away with the success that families have to remove anxiety from sleep for baby and for parents, but also like how they come out with such good skills and approaches to sleep, because it is not chaos. So make sure you get nurturing newborn sleep. Second is I want to make sure that when you're putting baby down, like it's okay to give them a bit of time. Like it takes 5 to 20 minutes for a baby to fall asleep. So watch those sleep cues. And at 8 weeks, like an older baby, you're like 10, 20 minutes to get them to sleep. after you see sleep cues. Newborn, it's pretty much right away. Like you're within the 5 minutes, they got to get to sleep. So I would do that. And the biggest thing that you can do to help your baby sleep, awake times, would be practice putting them down on their backs. Especially when you've got another kid, like they're always in the carrier, always in the stroller, maybe always in the bouncer. They're used to being like this. They're used to being curled up like this, right? This is a 4 to 5 month old baby doll, so it's quite a bit bigger. But we need to practice having these muscles back here. So we need to practice them laying flat on their back. So tummy time is important, absolutely. But we also need to practice these muscles. These can get really, it can feel weird. Like we have to stretch them out because they've been like this all in the womb and coming out into birth. And so then that's a really weird feeling. So let's practice, even like a momentary practice. And at 8 weeks, I will also say you are coming out of a gigantic, such a big developmental leap that is at 5 to 8 weeks. Give yourself a lot of grace. It's about to get a whole lot easier. But every time baby practices doing a bit of a nap on their back or putting them down and giving them a couple of minutes, you're one step closer. That time was not a failure, it was a practice. So I want you to reframe that a little bit, and I want you to set some really kind of reasonable expectations for yourself around this, because I feel like we have a lot of like short naps, yes, so let's make sure that baby is not overtired or undertired. However, I feel like in this email I'm feeling like kind of some defeat, and it's not a failure. It's not. Let's do first nap in the crib or bassinet, and let's make sure there's an overlapping downtime so that you're making sure you're getting one big long contact nap in there while your toddler is having their nap, and you're getting some breathing time. Every other practice is a really good practice, and we're moving towards things. I will say, make sure you grab my free nap cheat sheet, all of you, everyone listening, because it will tell you what to do with a 10 to 30 minute nap. It's going to be a really big game changer. I am so pumped that we got to answer these questions. I hope they are helpful to the parents who sent them in and to you. And maybe you heard that one of these is going to be great for your friends or for you. Remember, I am here. Email in your questions at littlewinks.ca. And our coaches actually open some more coaching spots next week. So if you are looking for that one-on-one approach, make sure that you book a free 15-minute call to catch up with us to see what is the best fit for your family. And remember, we're not guilt tripping ourselves. We are doing the next best thing for our babies. Have a great day. Chat to you soon.